The Eagles putting up a fight on Monday night for the playoff game. I really hope so. But there's a lot more to this future, maybe some changes that have to be made maybe before the playoff game, but what happens afterwards?
You better drink. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yeah, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. So, a few things I definitely want to go over here regarding the Philadelphia Eagles, and some things that came up that are still coming up this week. And are the Eagles going to turn it around? Are the Eagles going to show some fight in this playoff game against the Tampa Bay Bucks in Tampa Bay? I mean, a beatable team, and the Eagles just have to go back to their old ways of just somewhat dominating or somewhat looking competitive and having some energy and having a coaching staff that's going to do right by the players and not set them up for failure at this point. Can the players execute? Have the Eagles lost themselves? Are the players, have the coaches lost the players already? So definitely a few things to really go over here. Now, we did get, Chad Johnson had some things to say this week regarding the Philadelphia Eagles, and apparently he knows some inside stuff that's going on with the Eagles on quote unquote, they're playing possum right now. That what they're showing us has been, they've been losing on purpose. And I know the fans have been talking about this the last 6 weeks. The Eagles are doing this on purpose because they don't want to unveil everything in their playbook. You know, you were 10-1. You were, you had a 2-game lead in the conference, in the NFC conference. You choked away the first seed, you choked away the second seed, and you choked away the division on top of everything else. Okay. That's the realistic thing that's going on right now. And for a team that fell so far and crumbled so quickly in the month of December, which that's the one month you really can't be looking the way you're looking right now. I can't believe that. And it's hard for me to say this because I don't know how a team doesn't even play a little bit better. I mean, it seems like the Eagles have gotten so bad to this point. It's looking like, the players are just careless because of the coaching staff and how they're being treated, how they are being used at this point. And I've never seen a team look so consistent and losing games and making mistakes. I've never seen a team so consistent in a coaching staff that's not changing the way they do things and how they stay where they are, and they don't push the extra mile. It just seems like they've just been letting this thing get worse and worse by the week. I I still question it till this day, like what happened? And how are they not like showing a little bit of somewhat, like, oh, there's the Eagles, that's the team I've been looking for, like that's what I've kind of been questioning myself every single day because if this was any other team that was going through the stretch like this, they'd be other teams like looking a little bit different or looking like they're more motivated or looking at the coaches actually give a shit or I don't know. To me, it's just so weird at this point. And Chad probably doesn't know much of anything. I don't know, but if the Eagles beat Tampa Bay and they literally like play pretty good for 4 quarters, I'm not gonna lie, that'll be a good sign going forward. But the way, I mean, the defense is a whole nother story. Forget the defense. We'll talk about that in a couple minutes. But realistically, I don't know how you get this bad and you do this for the same stretch of 5 6 weeks, 6 weeks pretty much. Like, I've never seen a team crumble and stay this low for this long at the end of the year. You have a playoff game, you clinched the playoffs a while ago, and you still, like, it seems like the energy is just not there. And I can't agree that the players and coaches got together and, that they're doing this as a plan to make everyone believe that they're bad and then they go into a playoff game and unveil everything we've been wanting all year. I just can't believe all that. To me, it's just unrealistic. And if they did that, that's kind of fucked up, to be honest with you. Like, why do that? Why cost yourself cost yourself so much. Like Slay getting the surgery, the cleanup surgery in his knee, like all this weird shit, like is supposed to be a part of the plan of what the Eagles are doing to surprise the NFL and what they're going to do in the playoffs. I can't sense that this is what's really going on. Okay. It already kind of makes me question, too, even the Giants game, the amount of guys that they sat out for that game. I mean, Dallas was only up, 14-10 in the second quarter. And literally, you literally waved the white flag and sat everybody at this point. I don't know. I know there's a lot of fans buzzing about this. All the Eagles are hiding something in their back pocket. You know, it's like not hard to believe, but it's hard to believe because how does a team stay in this condition for that many weeks and not look any better? And the inconsistency of not using the running backs the right way, not running the ball, not having quick plays, not, I mean, every team has a blueprint on you of how to beat Jalen Hurts and from this offense from doing much of anything. And that's easy. Cover zero blitz the whole kitchen sink. And you beat Jalen Hurts, you let him roll out. The play is 9 out of 10 times going nowhere, or you're going to put him to the ground. So that's just what it is right now. And I can't take too much out of it because if there's a team that's a team and an ownership and front office and players that are and coaches, or at least coaches and players that are involving themselves in this little thing to lose on purpose, I just don't think that that'd be the right. I don't think that would even be right. And I hopefully think that's not true. But at the same time, like I said, how do you lose so consistently and not really change? How does every game look so different? The game plans are like night and day, and not for the better of it. Like little flashes that we see, and they stray away from the good things that are happening, and they keep on with the bad. Situational football, time of possession, putting teams away on certain drives. Like when the Eagles have a chance to put a team away with a lead, they always fail at it. And I think that's a big problem. So that was the stuff on Chad Johnson and what he said. Now, going into the defensive side of the ball, now we know the defense is worse. We already know that the defense is really the main concern going into this playoff game because they have done absolutely nothing between bad tackling, between the rumors of Javon Hargrave saying, or not the rumors, but the actual news that Javon Hargrave saying that the Eagles practices aren't really on, really aren't, tough, and they're not demanding, which really does worry me. But to be honest with you, it's not to say Shawn Desai is good, but damn, at least he looked a lot better than what Matt Patricia is giving us right now. At least with Shawn Desai, we've only given up 22 points with him in games. Matt Patricia, we're giving up 26 points a game with him on average, and that's not good. You're not getting stunts. You're not getting blitzes. You're not running these linebackers downhill. You're putting your best pass rusher in coverage. You're putting Josh Sweat in coverage. Hassan Reddick. I mean, your defensive line's not hitting home. Your safeties. There's too much community. There's still a communication issue, which Kevin Byard talked about after the game or a couple days ago, that there's still a communication issue with the secondary. They're making things so complicated for these players, and they can't even get the calls right in time. Like, and mid play, they're literally pointing at players to get certain guys, and that just doesn't happen. You're taking one of your best defensive linemen, you're taking them off the edge and putting them in pass coverage on top of your corners being at back 8 yards. What do you think they're supposed to do at this point? So, Shawn Desai is, even though if Shawn Desai come back as the DC? Not for next year. I'm just talking about the playoff game, because I think it's been a lot worse with Matt Patricia. Plus, you're giving up the big play, which we really rarely have done with Shawn Desai. Now, Shawn Desai is not the solution at all, period. He's not the solution. There's already the rumors were coming out that Shawn Desai will not be here next year with the Philadelphia Eagles, which I'm not surprised. I really don't want Matt Patricia being the defensive coordinator. I hope they don't hire from within house like that, because every time they do it, it is a fucking fail from the deep end side of the pool that you're never going to get out of. So that's my 2 cents on Shawn Desai, Matt Patricia, and you know, Shawn Desai is no better, but at least like we're not giving up easy points, and I think that's the main concern right now. Now moving forward, we obviously not only have to figure out the president of the Philadelphia Eagles when it comes to the playoff game and what's going to happen, but we always have to look to the future too, because obviously if teams make the playoffs from the AFC and the NFC, and all the other teams that are having their exit meetings and coaches are starting to get fired, a lot going on here. News came out the other day, a couple days ago. Wink Martindale was let go of the New York Giants. I thought he was staying for some weird reason. I must have like, I guess kind of just messed up the wording and what I was reading at the time. Wink Martindale leaving, the Giants. I know the Giants have a lot of interest in Antonio Pierce. He played. Antonio Pierce used to be a New York a New York Giant. Um, and the Raiders are trying to get some. They're trying to get a new head coach right now. So, um, Wink is the type of guy that I've wanted. I wanted him last year before we got the Cy. I had a lot of interest in him. He's an old school, probably bona fide defensive coordinator that we really need. The rumors of why he's not staying in New York, because I mean, New York is the Giants are really retaining a lot of coaches right now, and partially it's really because there was a lot of differences. Brian DeBall and Wink were kind of going at it apparently all year. Apparently, it ended horribly, which made Wink kind of go somewhere else. And to be honest with you guys, like if I was to pick a defensive coordinator, it would be Wink Martindale. He's not one of those older coaches that is like so recycled that's recycled to other teams and doesn't produce at all. Like Wink knows how to run a defense. Wink likes to be violent, likes to be nasty, and I've always liked him. I think he's always been a good coach, even with the Ravens for years. But even now, he's done a fantastic job with the Giants. Even look what he does to us. You know what I mean? Guy blitzes a lot, and it's just aggressive. And I don't think this team knows how to blitz. This team doesn't know how to be aggressive. This team has lost some heart, some fight back. I don't know. Now the main problem with this whole thing is Howie Roseman needs to change his philosophy on when he hires these coordinators, because the way it's going right now, and Howie has to stay out of the game planning. He needs to be in collaborative with the coaches to get certain guys on this roster to help both sides of schemes between the offense and the defense. But you have a guy like Wink right now that's really going to be a hot commodity as a free agent coach right now. That's going to find a really good home for him to run a defense. And I feel like if the Eagles don't bring him in at least on a visit, at least if they tried to bring him in on a visit, I'll give it more respect. But if they don't, then they're really stuck in their old ways, because I'm really hoping that Matt Patricia is just not the defensive coordinator next year, that they kind of force him to be that for us next year, running the same scheme that he did, then Gannon was here and was running, and obviously we thought that was the big failure, but it looks like it's not. That that Howie Roseman is very much involved in things. Um, you know, you got to think about other things too. Like Wink Martindale would be the number one guy for defensive coordinator for me. And Eagles, you better try to interview some of these guys here, especially Wink, my favorite candidate for defensive coordinator right now. Bringing in a guy that's going to, at least if they bring in a guy that wants to run his own defense or his offense, at least at this point, you have someone to blame. Because this confusion of there's way too many cooks in the kitchen, dialing up too many things, and it's making it harder on the players. And Howie Roseman has got to let go of some of this power, because this philosophy doesn't change. This is what's going to happen. Obviously, when we talk about example of recycled coaches, we talk about Ron Rivera. That I think the most surprising cut that Josina Anderson put up a tweet a couple days ago discussing that there's going to be a surprise coming within the NFC East when it comes to the coaching staff, or at least from the front office, or whatever they said. Ron Rivera was fired as well. He's a coach that I don't know at this point. Can he actually be a coordinator? I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to get the coaches that are kind of like dead in the water right now that haven't really had any success. I don't think Ron Rivera has really had much success. Half the time, the team was looking for a quarterback. Half the time, I feel like that roster is like a really good quarterback away from doing much of anything. The defense isn't too bad, but I think they just do enough. And unfortunately, I don't know if Ron Rivera will be that guy that is going to be recycled to us as a DC. There's some guys you just have to leave alone, and you have to guys like Wink Martindale are going to be guys that are going to get jobs. They're going to get definite jobs with the team because I know this is what the Eagles need because you're playing passive, you're watching an area, you're letting receivers and tight ends off the line. I mean, it's bad. I mean, they can't hit home. They do not know how to blitz. They don't know how to rush as a unit. It has gotten literally worse pretty quickly. And Ron Rivera, I don't know where he'll go. But if he's not washed up too much and knows how to run a defense, he could do that. But we'll see. Even Mike Vrabel's another guy, that was fired from Tennessee. Obviously, 2 losing seasons, and part of his tenure is just they have another team that couldn't find a quarterback for so long. Got the GM got fired after AJ Brown embarrassed the Titans last year. And Mike Vrabel's not the reason why AJ Brown left the Titans. It was the GM that got that trade done. And Mike Vrabel, if you watch the video online, he was pretty pissed off. Now, Mike Vrabel, that was a linebackers coach turned defensive coordinator in Houston. He had the 13th ranked defense in 2017 with the Titans. He had the 8th ranked defense in 2018 with the Tennessee Titans. So, Vrabel might be going back to being a defensive coordinator and a good one at that. So this is always somewhat of a option that is out there. I mean, there's options out there. I'm not saying that all these guys I have interest in because I'm showing them. Obviously, you have Arthur Smith. You have a bunch of guys out there. A lot of guys are getting fired right now. And I think that's one thing where I think the one thing they really need to do is they need to the philosophy has to change upstairs, and then they have to hire guys that will take the blame 100%. Let these coordinators do their jobs. There shouldn't be 5, 6 to 8 people putting a game plan together that's just making things so confusing at this point. I just really can't stand it. I hope things do change with the Eagles. And like I said, you have to look forward sometimes because coaches are going to get fired. This is what's going to happen. And I think, in my opinion, right now, because the Eagles are where are they weakest right now? Defense, they are the weak link right now. How, I don't know, but this scheme is definitely not helping either when it comes to it. So with Wink Martindale, why not? This would be a perfect way to go and stay aggressive. And the one thing I know that Wink Martindale has is pushback. He'll fight with anybody. And I don't think that's going to be a good thing for Howie Roseman. If he feels like if a guy has an ego, a guy has an attitude problem, the guy's cocky. I don't know. If that's the case, then you're never going to live your life. You know what I mean? It's just nuts, man. Just nuts. I think when it comes down to it, just got to hire the right guy. And I don't know. I don't want to promote from in-house. I'm tired of promoting from within. That's one of the most reasons that Doug left, because at that point he was tired of he was just tired of not being able to hire new blood outside the organization. It's like they made him choose like within the organization, and trying to keep Press Taylor, and that's what happened. And it kind of drove Doug to leave at that point. I don't want that to happen again, because at the end of the day, like, depending if Nick really lost, I think it's up to Jeffrey Lurie that if Nick lost this locker room or not. It's really going to depend on that playoff game that they do play. There is promise 50-50 shot for me, at least, that he will stay, or he will be or he will be gone. Nick being fired, and then they have to fire an interim head coach, and they have to get a new head coach at the same time. So I think that's going to be really interesting when it comes to the coaching staff. I mean, I hate when you have to change coaches over and over and over. But Wink still got a lot of juice left in his play calling and does a really good job. And he's dangerous, man. He'd be a great acquisition. So if I don't see any type of rumor that he's got an interview with the Eagles after the Eagles playoff game, if they win or lose, whatever the case may be, then it's gonna be really sad, to be honest with you. It's that they don't pull the trigger on anything, and that's just what it is right now. So that's all I want to talk about regarding the coaches, regarding the Eagles. What Chad Johnson said about Eagles playing possum. How could that even be true? Do people actually believe that the Eagles would actually hold plays in their back pocket? A lot of things shouldn't surprise me, but sometimes it really does at some points. But other than that, guys, pretty much it. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes what follows. Peace out, guys. Peace.